Why real champagne is so expensive. The clock strikes 12 on New Year's Eve, and you get a big promotion. Let it be any occasion. Celebrations ask for champagne. We like to toast the glass of sparkling bubbly drink whenever there is a time for celebration. The bubbly light-colored wine is a symbol of wealth and luxury. Be it a wedding or having success in business, we pop champagne and raise our toasts. Champagne is nothing but sparkling wine, but do you know about real champagne? Yes, real champagne is something different from your sparkling wine, and there is a reason behind it being so expensive. The champagne is a true champagne when it is made in Champagne. Are you ready for another fascinating video? Today, we're going to tell you about champagne. It is associated with big, joyous, and luxurious celebrations and occasions. We don't drink champagne on every occasion, but only if it's to mark something important in life. On many occasions, like on the winning of a race, athletes and race car drivers have champagne poured on them, but they don't even drink it. It just marks a luxurious celebration. The history behind the champagne being expensive. Royalty loves the novelty of champagne, and that's why it's so expensive in the market. The champagne drink was viewed as a luxury and status symbol, and having this drink for celebration was marked as a tradition by the royals in Europe prior to 1789. It was considered as a drink of the royal, and hence it was expensive and not meant for low-class people. In the late 19th century, champagne became a drink for joyous occasions and celebrations worldwide. There is also a tradition of smashing champagne bottles before the voyage against a ship. It is considered lucky as well as a luxurious mark. Champagne is synonymous with status and wealth. It is twice as expensive as other sparkling wines. If a Prosecco price is $13 and Cava is $12, on the other hand, real champagne will cost $55. A decent bottle of champagne can cost you anywhere from $504 to $500. It depends on the quality, the grapes used, region, and age. The older the bottle is, the higher will be its price. A decent vintage bottle can cost you $1,000. So why is champagne so expensive, while other sparkling wines are not? Champagne is a sparkling wine, but not exactly a sparkling wine. It can only be called champagne if it comes from the region of France named Champagne. Yes, real champagne is only a true champagne if it is made in Champagne. Champagne is a region that is a home to world's most prestigious and expensive champagne cellars and cellars located about 150 kilometers east of Paris. Wine business is a big and famous business in France, especially the sparkling wine of Champagne. Real champagne is so expensive because it cannot be made in any other part of the world except this restricted area of France. Every single bottle is made in this restricted area of France. What makes this drink so special and at the same time so expensive? In this video, we'll tell you everything about the real champagne and the reason behind its exorbitant prices. And before that, please like and subscribe to our channel to know more facts like this. The price of a bottle is determined by four main factors. Number 1, the restricted areas for the production of wine. Number 2, how much labor gets involved in making the wine. Number 3, the climatic condition where the grapes grew. Number 4, how many bottles are produced. Number 1, Champagne being the only region to make champagne. Champagne is expensive, as true champagne can only be labeled as real champagne if it's produced in a small restricted area, Champagne, France. Being the only region to produce the entire stock of true champagne, it is considered a drink of luxury and royalty, hence the high elevated prices. They produce approximately 300 bottles of this bubbly drink every year with an annual revenue of over $5 billion, making this sparkling drink one of France's biggest exports. The region has a unique climate which produces the grapes used to make champagne, and this is the first factor of elevated prices. If the bubbly drink is made outside this region, even if it's a part of France or anywhere else, it cannot be considered champagne and have to be labeled differently. Champagne being the only home of champagne cellars and cellars is a reason behind the high cost of the drink. Number 2. Labor involved in making the wine. Grapes produced for champagne are hand-picked rather than machined. It requires hundreds of laborers. To check the time of grape harvest is important. The grapes are harvested by hand when they ripe, and they undergo the process of alcoholic fermentation. It is important to hand-pick grapes to select the best grapes for the white wine. Use of machines is forbidden by law, as machines can pick unripe grapes, worms, or leaves, or grapes of poor quality. It is made using the méthode champenoise, in which a second fermentation is done in each bottle of champagne to create effervescence. Each bottle has to be handled properly, which is a complex process and needs a long period of time as well as efforts of laborers. Whereas sparkling wine like Prosecco is made using the Charmat method, where it goes for second fermentation inside a giant tank of wine, after which sparkling wine is transferred into bottles. It takes less time as well as labor and is cost efficient. Thus, production of real champagne requires massive labor, hence it is much more expensive than sparkling wine. Number 3. The region and climatic condition required. The thing that makes champagne different from other sparkling wine is more of a geographical thing. It is vital to have proper soil to grow the grapevines. As the better the soil, better the grapes will be, and so better will be your champagne. These factors, soil, weather, and climate of the region determine how the grapes will grow and taste. That's why champagne can't be made anywhere else except its traditional place in Champagne, France. Other drinks are merely sparkling wine and not real champagne. Champagne has a history of growing the desirable grapes that are headed for making champagne. The structure of soil plays an important role, as when it rains, the water always goes down and doesn't get flooded in the vineyard. The type of soil used is clay and chalk in Champagne. In France, the better quality the terrain, the higher will be the price of the land. A hectare of land for wine is 66,500 euros, and in the region of Champagne for the Champagne wine, the rate of land per hectare is approximately 1 million euros. This region is much cooler than other parts of France, where wine is produced like a Marseille. The temperature is 58 degrees Fahrenheit, whereas in Champagne, the temperature stays at an average of 50 degrees Fahrenheit, which gives the grapes the perfect acidity for the production of sparkling wine. The low temperature and climatic condition in northern France is one of the main and first factors for the raised prices. Number 4. Number of bottles made and sold. Even during the period of World War I and II, many producers were still producing champagne. About 40% of vineyards in Champagne were destroyed as a result of World War, and the stock and production was held back. Due to the cutback in production, the bottles made during the period of World War, or prior to it, are sold at steep prices, and some are even priceless. Even now, due to the reason that only a restricted area can produce real champagne, the number of bottles of real champagne is less. Hence, each bottle is expensive. The famous American rapper Jay-Z came into partnership with Armand de Brignac in 2014. Armand de Brignac is a champagne brand owner by the Cartier family. They released a set of 3 vintage champagne bottles for the price of $1,000 a bottle of 2009, 2010, and 2012, which were the most expensive ones of their collection. There were only 3,535 bottles of these produced. It is not even possible to produce the real champagne outside of this restricted area. There are many factors needed for the growth of grapes for production of champagne that can be found only in Champagne, France. Méthode champenoise is the traditional method used for the production where the first fermentation takes place in stainless steel or oak vats, and the second one takes place inside the bottle. Wine from other regions outside the Champagne cannot use the traditional method used here, as it is restricted by EU law. Champagne brand is protected by the team of lawyers under the Committee Champagne, as there are many brands imitating the label Champagne in their bottles of sparkling wine made outside Champagne. That's why it's so expensive to buy a bottle of champagne. So now, do you know how to recognize the real champagne? Next time when someone calls sparkling wine the champagne, you can tell them this wonderful knowledge. Did you like to know cool facts about champagne? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe. and hit the bell icon for more cool videos.